Think back to your very first love, that first kiss that had your heart pumping, your palms sweating, and your blood pulsing through your veins. That feeling evokes a sense of power, but also a loss of control. A feeling so powerful, could it be powerful enough to kill? This is the story of how our grandma killed our grandpa. Welcome to Who Are You? Curious Stories of Family Lore. I'm Weetsy.
And I'm Sam Ivy.
And who are you?
I'm Lou.
Thanks for joining us, fam. So today we're going to be talking about how our grandma killed our grandpa and the family lore behind it, and we'll see what you guys think if perhaps our grandma's a murderer or was a murderer or not. When I say our grandma, I don't mean all three of us. We have a guest here today, our guest being Mr. Lou. Do you want to just, who are you?
My mother is the sister of her father.
That's true.
All right, I see it.
Yes.
So the grandma in question is shared.
I mean, that is how genetics work in family trees. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have only heard rumors and sort of whisper speak of this family legend. I have seen both of our parents shy away from the topic. I'm interested to learn more about it.
Yeah, so we are connected through the Franklin line. So our grandpa, James Franklin the First, is the subject of this. He's the grandpa who was murdered, ? And then our grandma married him. So this whole podcast started because I researched the Franklin line, which is the line that we share, because my dad didn't even know his grandparents. So this is about my dad's dad, your mom's dad as well.
Yeah.
Just to clarify for the 5th time for everybody listening. Okay, so with that being said, we are talking about our grandpa James Franklin and our grandma Beverly Hubbard, and they had 3 kids together: Charlie, James the Second, which is my dad, and Edith May, which is your mom.
Good old Edie.
They were married June 3rd, 1962. So a little bit about Grandpa, because we want to separate these two for a second to paint a picture of their relationship, because it's really a simple story when you break it apart. Not much happened. We're going to tell it in a very short time.
Mm-hmm.
But leading up to it, there's a background that should be built to kind of understand, or like really see why we think it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
So Grandpa, he was raised on a dairy farm in Ava, New York, and his parents' names were Glenn and Della Franklin. He had 4 siblings: Lawrence, who I met, Uncle Larry. We used to go to his house every Christmas. It was pretty cool. Norman, Owen, and Catherine, who I also met and would go to her house every Christmas. So that's pretty cool to know 2 of these people. Not knowing how they were related to me growing up the entire time until after they were gone, I was like, oh, now I'm like, what? That's crazy. So Grandpa was a custodian for Stockbridge City Schools for many years. So I believe he was also a bus driver. He was well known in the community, really quiet, hardworking.
Stoic.
And the cool thing about this Franklin line is he's the first cousin to Ben Franklin, 8 times removed, which would make Lou and I first cousins to Ben Franklin, 10 times removed. So that's pretty cool, and I'll say that a few more times. So don't worry about it. You won't forget. They'll post stuff for the validation for the people who are like, liar.
We got the receipts, okay?
We have the receipt.
We
We
do.
do. And Jinx. Beautiful. Anyways, so Dad had this to say about his dad, and he'll be on and you'll hear it firsthand from him. But he had this to say. He said his dad would only tell you once. He would tell you quietly, don't play in the creek. For those of you who don't know what a creek is, it's a creek, it's a crook. It's a body of water that is a little bit bigger than a stream, but smaller than, I don't know. It's a crook.
Depends on where you're from and stuff, or like they know like certain slangs, different parts of the region and stuff.
So you just want to clarify, it's a river, basically.
It's water.
His dad would tell him once, don't play in the creek, and then they go and they do it. And his dad, like, he said this is a memory he had where his dad was like, don't play down there. And my dad was like, he. And they went, him and Charlie went down there to play. And Grandpa came up behind him and just kicked them both in, right into the water. And I was like, I told you not to swim in there. So very much like wouldn't yell, but
stern.
It was the 60s, and he would, he was a stern person, but not abusive, and that's important. Mm-hmm. He wasn't abusive.
I think that got passed down, but crossed over onto my side, because that's how it was. Either your father or your brother, I don't know who. Someone kicked me off the paddle boat at O'Hara Lakes, and that's how I learned to swim. That's how I learned to really swim. I could.
Wait, you're saying that was who that did that?
Either Jimmer or your dad.
Yeah, either one's fair game. That sounds like something either one of them would do.
I was like, wow, it's so cool out here. And they were like, yeah, did you learn how to swim yet? And I barely got the no out of my mouth. And someone...
It was probably Dad.
Got me in there.
I can see it being your dad.
Yeah. Okay, so Grandma was born December 30th of 1939, and she was quite a few years younger than Grandpa. And so she was one of 13 kids.
Wow.
Grandpa, we talked about, was one of 5. He was raised on a dairy farm. They milked cows, and by all accounts had a pretty decent childhood. Poor farmers, upstate New York, 30s or 30s. Yeah. Grandma's childhood, on the other hand, 13 kids and a dad who was so abusive to all those kids, like just so abusive that this is crazy. And my dad tells me this story, and it's pretty cool in a way that's not so cool. My mom's parents used to live next door to Grandma Bevy, who we're talking about right now, her family, when they were kids. Her dad.
Mm-hmm.
So Grandpa and his twin brother, when they were teenagers, so when Grandma Bevy was still at home, because she's younger, was still at home, they used to hear the kids being abused and beat. And so one day, my grandpa and his identical twin brother hopped the fence over to their house and beat the crap out of their dad.
Jesus.
Like, beat the living crap out of their dad, and was like, if we ever hear you hitting these kids again, we're going to kill you.
Wow.
You beat your kids, you deserve to be beat. So, and it's just the irony of the fact that then Grandpa Marvin, who beat up, this guy, went on to have my mom, and then Grandma Bevy went on to have Dad, and they ended up getting married. Like, that's wild. But anyways.
Small world.
Yeah. So Grandma had a really rough childhood, and she kind of was raised to not give a crap about anybody. Very selfish, very one-track mind,
I mean, she
manipulative.
Had to be in survival mode.
That's exactly it. Learning to get whatever you can from whoever you can to survive. And that's how she lived her life. She was a raging alcoholic for the longest time. Once Grandpa died, which we're going to talk about, she turned all of her pain into abuse to my dad and the other kids. Dad said that he used to be beat with everything you could think of all the time. He used to be accused of doing drugs. She used to say that he looked like his dad and that it was his fault that his dad died and all this like terrible stuff. And you're gonna see why that's so messed up.
Jesus.
I mean, you can see it now, but it's like
it's sad to see trauma like passed on due to like somebody not being taught the proper ways to process said pain.
Yeah,
because all of her tactics that it sounds like she like grew up depending on, it's just ways to numb the pain and numb the trauma instead of having somebody show you how to face it head on.
Yeah, no one taught her to heal, and so she turned that pain into a repeated pattern and abused her kids. And then my dad had to grow up and break as many of those habits as he can. Didn't break them all, broke some.
Yeah.
And now we're here making this podcast to try to highlight those things and generational trauma, point it out. It's a real thing, and it's important to study your history, but also recognize.
And it's okay to talk about it. Like, don't be afraid to talk. There's somebody out there that has gone through something similar that can relate, or, you know, some way, somehow. You just gotta talk about it. Even if it doesn't fix anything, it makes you feel a little bit better. Weight lifted off your chest just to speak it out loud.
Just because you were beat as a kid doesn't mean you have to beat your kids.
Yep.
That's it. I wasn't beat.
My dad hit me until I started hitting back, but that's a whole different story for a different episode.
Yes.
I don't think I was abused. If I needed my ass kicked, I got my ass kicked. And I think it's positive, too, to see that, you know, everybody's life has, like, good and bad. You know, it's good to hear other people's, like, bad stories sometimes, you know?
Well, the world can make me feel very lost and, you know, alone. And it's good to know that everybody is human. Even the people that look like they have the world put together and everything is perfect, like, they've gone through some of the hardest stuff you probably never would have think of.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone has that other part of their life that they don't broadcast. Because, you know, everyone on social media is, like, say, you know, they only post the good shit, so everything
It's the illusion, it's the mirage.
Looks like they have it all put together.
Yep. I want to preface this with after Grandpa died, the Franklin family wanted absolutely nothing to do with her. They cut her off completely, to the point that is why my dad didn't know even his grandparents. Now we're going to kind of just get to what happened. So, on July 4th, it was like the night Grandpa went to work on July 4th. So he had his night shift, which I don't know what time he left the house or whatever, but he left for work, and Grandma wasn't expecting him to come home until late the next day. So, like, let's say you worked a 12-hour shift, you wouldn't get home until 11 a.m. because you would leave and get to work maybe by 11 p.m. on July 4th, so he'd be home by 11 a.m. July 5th. For whatever reason, and it's still not known, he got out early. He was home in the very early morning hours of July 5th. Since Grandma was not expecting him home and thought that she had some time, Grandpa walks in and goes into the bedroom, and Grandma is there with a man who is a mutual friend of theirs named Roy.
Fucking Roy, dude.
And you're just caught cheating on your husband.
By your husband.
In your bedroom that you share with your husband.
The guy named Roy.
And you have 2 kids with this man. You have 3 kids with this man, sorry. You have 3 kids with this man. And you're cheating on him in the bed that you guys share. And also, the thing about Grandpa is he came in and rescued Grandma. Grandma was a shady person, selfish, manipulative person. And Grandpa was a stoic, quiet, but stern, raised by farmers, member of the community, older than her. And he fell in love with her. Whatever he saw in her. She was beautiful. She was absolutely gorgeous. That is a fact. So maybe he was just like, she's beautiful. What? Doesn't matter.
I don't know if I've ever seen pictures of young Grandma.
Oh, I'll show you. I'll find some and we'll add them. And Grandpa was a good-looking dude. He was a little bit of a stunner, so he was older. So this broke his heart.
Yeah.
And I guess this is how the story is told. Grandpa shut the door. He said nothing. He shut the door, and he went, and he just sat down in his armchair, and he never woke up. He just never woke up. And the next morning, my dad went to go wake him up. So Dad wakes up, and I think he woke up early, relatively early, probably like 7, maybe even earlier than that. He'll tell you. We'll find out. And he went to like shake his arm or something, and something felt wrong, and he got Grandma, and Grandma started screaming hysterically and ran right by him and called the 911, was like just really obviously dramatic about it, but like also you were just cheating on him the night before. And like also it's really weird that like he ended up dead the night that you were caught cheating on him, and he was the breadwinner and there was life insurance involved.
Yeah.
And he was older than her, and she got all of his life insurance money.
Oh, I never even thought about that part of it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I have other stuff after this.
What we have here is a whodunit where we know who done it.
It took her
I
think it took her less than a week to cash in on the insurance before, and there was no autopsy done. I couldn't find any records of an autopsy. The cause of death is unknown.
That's some shady. Because honestly, if he died with an unknown cause in like the house, it's technically a murder. Like that is a crime scene. Because that's what they did with my grandma when she died. Her body was diagnosed a crime scene. Until, but granted, we did like exclude where we didn't want to get an autopsy done, but they still gave her a cause of death, and it wasn't until they gave her a cause of death that it was released, like not a crime scene anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't find an autopsy.
Arrest is what my mother said.
Yeah. I'm gonna read this. Just remember the name of the man who was there in the bedroom with Grandma. James W. Franklin. Funeral services for James W. Franklin were conducted at 11 a.m. Monday at the Fiore Funeral Home, 303 Main Street. The Rev. Mark D. Squires, pastor of Vernon Baptist Church, officiating. Mr. Franklin, oh my gosh, he was actually way younger than we all thought.
Really?
We thought he was in his 70s. He was 58.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's young. Now it's extra shady.
He's 58. And their address I have here, 425 Sconadilla Street. So I'm going to post some pictures.
Isn't that the one that goes by the water?
I think I'm not sure. This is Sconadilla. I know which one you're talking about. I think this is not in Oneida. This is in a different place. Died unexpectedly early Saturday morning at the Oneida City Hospital. At the Oneida. Oh, this would be. I'm so sorry. This is when he was older.
Yeah.
Yes, this is in Oneida. Died unexpectedly early Saturday morning at the Oneida City Hospital shortly after admission. He was the husband of Beverly Hubbard. Did she never change her last name to Franklin?
I guess not, if she's being addressed as that.
He was the husband of Beverly Hubbard?
She could have requested that. Like if she was moving on real quick.
That's interesting.
If she thought she was going to marry Roy or whatever.
Well, speaking of Roy, bearers were Edward Harp Jr., Roy Lee Farman, John Depew, Daniel P. Harp, Frank J. Kessler Jr., and Thomas Brown.
So, Chop's family?
Did you hear
Roy?
Yeah, I heard Roy.
Roy Lee Farman was a bearer for he carried his casket.
It be your own people. I believe that. That tracks.
She got the man she was sleeping with to carry her dead husband.
That sounds like some Beverly shit. That's Bev. That's Bev.
Yep.
That's fucking wild, dude.
Yep. Not even her wife. Roy is the most mild of all the men that I have known my grandmother to be with. And that's just me.
Really?
My mother has seen far many other ones, I'm sure. And your father. but like, dude, Ed,
Yeah.
Don.
Okay, I wish I had pictures of these men, so as you say their names, I can just put their pictures up.
We can find some, certainly.
We have got to.
Do you guys still like talk to your grandma at all, or
she's dead?
Oh,
so dead.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, don't be bad.
Good for her. She was really doing bad there at the end. She's in a hopefully better spot. Probably not though. She a lot to atone for that she didn't.
Yeah.
If you believe in that sort of thing, I don't know. Anyway,
so that's really the story.
She definitely did it.
She definitely killed him. I don't necessarily know if a broken heart or if she like.
Definitely did.
We could circle back to this, and we could see what people think. So
only a couple of the people that we're talking about are alive still, so
that's fair.
We probably aren't going to anger.
And I got permission from my dad. He said, "Be honest about Grandma, because she wasn't a good mom." I have good memories of her, and I'm going to say that she did good things for me. And there are times where I miss her.
Yeah.
And there are things that remind me of her that bring me happiness. And there are certain smells that take me back. And there are recipes and there are things that I do because she taught me them.
Yeah.
I remember making bread with her. I remember her showing me that you don't need to measure specifically to make amazing sausage bread.
I think it's different with the grandkids though, because like, you and I got such a different version of her.
You got her a little older, going through some shit.
Right.
They got the drunk, abusive, selfish version.
Yeah.
Right.
And we got she went to rehab and got sober. So we can't completely trash her because she went to rehab and got sober. And that's a hard thing to do when you come from a family you've been abused your whole life. And so you find comfort in sex and alcohol and maybe other drugs. And you don't realize that you are inflicting the same trauma on your kids.
Yeah, 100%.
And she's a victim in this too, in a lot of ways. But if she murdered our grandpa, she's no longer a victim. Like, there are a lot of murderers and killers who were victims when they were young, and you feel sorry for the little versions of them, but once you get to a certain age, you need to take accountability. And for her, it's like rehab was the first step of that accountability. But even as my grandma lay dying, my dad said it was so hard for him to feel, I guess. And I shouldn't really speak for him, but it was hard.
It's a trauma response.
It's hard for somebody to like, oh, I'm sad my mom's dying. She beat me my entire childhood and treated me like crap and accused me of doing a lot of things I didn't do. And my dad was such a cool kid. He used to knit. His old lady neighbor taught him how to knit when he was like 5, and he made slippers and mittens and hats. And he was a cool kid. And my grandma didn't see any of it. So.
Well, see, a lot of people believe like when people are passing or in death, like it cleans like the slate, and it like justifies all wrongdoing they've ever done. Like it makes them like like they never did anything wrong. And I don't believe that. I'm all for celebrating that person and celebrating the good that they did do, but it's not like I'm not gonna sit there and also not call them like a shithead for being a shithead. You know, and it doesn't change any relationships I have with the living that's still around. Like if that person passed away, that was, a connection between us, and me and you still have issues that you do not want to come face and talk to me as a person, then, we still have issues. Like, I can be cordial for what I need to be, but that doesn't wipe our slate clean,
Yep.
I'm a realist. I call it like it is. I'm not going to, glorify. I do it even with my grandmother. Like, I don't glorify. I love her, and she is an amazing woman, and she is a freaking badass woman, but yeah, she was shady sometimes, and yeah, she does some shit, but we all do. Life's freaking wild. It doesn't come with a handbook.
Yeah.
And it all ties back around to seeing the good and the bad even within yourself and your own, family.
Yeah. So, thank you for sticking around. And I think with that, we can maybe final thoughts. Did Grandma kill Grandpa?
Yeah.
Sam? Oh.
I'm a firm believer that, I think that there needs to be some further investigation. I don't know if we can need to call Shaggy and the gang or what, but something is not right here.
Or...
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I think there's some, yeah.
Especially, like, realizing now how young he was, yeah.
I don't think it was as intentional and malicious as something like stabbing him or shooting him.
I think it was poisoning.
Oh, no, I wasn't even gonna say that.
That's what I'm sorry. I like crunches.
It is just a broken heart. Even if what he saw raised his heart rate and his blood pressure and he sat down and died, even if that's all that happened, if she didn't do that, he wouldn't have done that. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
Yeah. And once he died, she took all of her quote-unquote pain, whatever that means, out on her kids, which sucks.
Which
I don't know about
ass. Don't do that.
No,
that
bad.
Sucks.
So, anyways, thanks for sticking around, fam.
Appreciate y'all. Just never stop questioning, man. Who are you? Who are you, Lou?
Who are you?
Who are you?
Still figuring that out.